Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. We're still in the month of August. I went ahead and finished all of the baling, but I have not picked up any of the bales out of the field yet. There's still plenty of time for us to get some chopping done, so that is what we're going to do. Now I had to make a change. The silage chopper that I had was not working. I couldn't get any of my tractors to actually pull it. So I went ahead, sold it, and I bought this old chopper, Orkin Z320, and it works. Went ahead, already tested it out, so I know this is going to work. It is slow. We're only going to be rocking about 4 mile an hour, which isn't great. So this is definitely going to take a while. Yeah, 2 rows of corn at 4 mile an hour is not great. But it's the only option I have at the moment for this old school series. Not a big deal, just gonna take a minute. So we're gonna go ahead, jump in, and we'll get this thing fired up. And see if we can't get some corn chopped here. Fire it up, get it dropped down. All right, now this actually works best from the in-cab view. Trying to see where I'm going and what I'm doing from the outside is not fantastic. We're going to do one pass around the end rows here, and then we're just going to go straight back and forth. With this machine being as small as it is, it doesn't require a whole lot of space to turn around. So we don't need to do a whole lot of passes around the headlands here. So I'm going to go ahead, knock this out, and we'll see how far I get before this silage box gets full. All right, well, we got our first box mostly full. It's 200 liters short, but that's going to be close enough. So we're going to run this over here to our silage pit, get it emptied out. I went ahead and hired up a worker to continue running the chopper for me. So we'll see how this goes. It's definitely a slow process, but it seems to be working just fine. It's, like I said, just very, very slow. So we need to figure out how to get these boxes emptied out into our silage pit. This might prove to be a bit of a disaster, to be honest. They don't unload out the back at all. They only unload from the front left. So I'm not entirely sure how this is going to go. Of course, backing running gears up is always a bit of a challenge, especially when you try and go too fast. So let's try this again. All right, so we'll go ahead, unload here, and see what unloading these here is like. Otherwise, if this isn't going to work, I'm going to have to put up some fermenting silos and grab a blower and do it that way. It's probably the way I should have done it to begin with, to be completely honest. But hey, we're learning as we go here. All right, well, we got our first wagon emptied. On the bright side, these don't hold a whole lot. It's only 28,000 liters, so having to drag them in and out of here won't be too bad. But we'll go ahead, get headed back to the field, and get this dropped where I think we'll need it. And we'll pick up the other one when it gets full. And I'll catch up to you guys when we get this pit filled up a little bit farther, and maybe we can start getting it pushed up and packed in. All right, well, desperate times call for desperate measures. The old chopper was not working well. In an hour and a half, I got 1.5 trailer loads. And these trailers only hold 28,000 liters, so it was not going well at all. So, sold it off. Went ahead and bought this John Deere 7500i with the Champion 4500 head, and this is what we're going to be chopping with from now on. I was really hoping for something red or, yellow as a New Holland, but not finding much out there for old school. This is about as old as I could find at the moment. So this is what we went with. And you can see in the background there, because the way these trailers unloading in the pit was not working well. So I went ahead and put up 2 harvest stores, and that is what we're going to be putting our silage in, or our chaff, and turning into silage. So also bought a blower. I got the 845 hooked up to it. That way we can unload in it. I've got 2 trailers in there so far. And you can see I'm a little over halfway loaded with this one. So we're going to go ahead and finish our chopping with this and see how things go. All right, well, we got all of our chopping done. I've got 223,000 liters of chaff in the fermenting silo. So that should be more than enough to get us through the year for the cattle that we're going to buy. And we'll wait a month and let that convert over to silage. That way we can feed the cattle. So we won't be getting any cattle this month. However, I would like to be able to get some cattle next month, is my plan anyway. So we'll get that put away. And start organizing tractors and stuff. And then we need to go ahead and get all of our bales picked up here. So we'll go ahead, get the tractors all put away and cleaned up and whatnot. And then I'll start picking up bales. And once we're done with that, it'll be time to do some plowing and cultivating. All right, well, I got all of our bales picked up. We've got 17 hay bales and 28 straw bales. So that's pretty good. I'll take it. Now I'm going to go ahead and do some plowing here. And we're going to go ahead and extend this field. We're going to extend the oat field that was across the ditch a little bit. And I think that'll probably be it. I don't think I'm going to do anything with my wheat field or my corn field as of now. So we're just going to go ahead and get these extended. I'll drop this down. And there's a whole lot of grass around this grass field here that isn't actually a part of the field, and there's really no point in it not being. So we're going to go ahead and extend this out. I will get this plowed up, get it cultivated, and we will get this planted yet today before the end of the month. Now we are getting a little late in the day. It's about 5:30, so we've got plenty of stuff we need to get done here, but not too big of a deal. It won't take very long to get these 2 little fields extended out. So along this side of the field, I'm not really extending the field much, or so much as just getting this spot where it's not quite textured correctly. I'm just going to go ahead and expand it out a little bit there, but I don't want to get too close to the other fields because I do want to keep these this waterway here. So we're just going to kind of loop around here, and this is where I'm going to extend quite a bit, actually. We'll keep that waterway there pretty decently wide between here and the cornfield, but then we'll just kind of loop down, make a nice easy swing, and come right up along the edge of the driveway here. So this is going to stay grass, at least for now. I have no plans of ever turning this into something else, so no need to worry about being too close to the driveway, because grass doesn't, it's the one crop you can't destroy. I've got a little bit of touch up to do around here, and this field will be finished. And then we can go ahead and get this area cultivated and ready to be seeded. And we'll get our International 5100 seeder out and get all of this seeded. That way it'll be ready and raring to go for the spring. A little spot down here in the corner that needed to be hit. I think that might about do it. There might be a spot up here that needs to be hit quick, but since we're not expanding this field a whole lot. It really doesn't take much. Yep, there's just a little dab up here in this corner. Make sure we get all of it, and this field is done. So we'll go ahead, jump across the creek here. All right, now I'm just going to expand this out about the width of this ripper, not much bigger, just to give me that little bit extra coming out of this field. It's definitely going to be a bit before I can afford to purchase new land. I am playing on difficult economy. I don't think I mentioned that last episode. And we have, almost $18,000 a month in mortgage payment. So it's going to be a bit before we can actually purchase new land. So I need to maximize the land that we do have and get as much as we can for, that way we can make as much money as we possibly can here. All right, we have both of the... Oh, no, we don't. I missed a part. Missed a spot. Okay, so there's been a couple of spots in this field that just didn't quite get plowed up like they should. So I'm going to go ahead, smooth this area out a bit. There we go. And I had a couple of spots in this field that I needed to do that too. So we'll go ahead, drop the plow, and get this little strip right there. There we go. Now we are officially done with expanding both of these fields. So we'll take this back and we'll grab the 7210 and the cultivator, and we can start cultivating here. All right, so we got our 7210 here hooked up, pulling the vibra chisel. So we will go ahead, drop this down, and we'll get this area that we just plowed up smoothed out and ready for us to plant some grass here. I gotta say, the animation that was put onto this vibra chisel is pretty impressive. It's one of the better dirt animations that I've seen. I'm very, very impressed with this thing. And yeah, the 7210 is definitely a little overpowered for this thing. I could honestly probably use my 1086 to pull this vibra chisel. It does not require a whole lot of horsepower, but it is perfect for doing little touch-up spots like this where I don't need to get the whole, get the big one out with the big four-wheel drive. And we can still get a lot of ground covered in a short amount of time with this. All right, and with that, the grass field is cultivated and ready to be planted. Now, before I do the planting, I forgot I do need to spread some lime and fertilizer. So we'll definitely have to take care of that. But that won't take very long either. And then we can go ahead and get that field seeded. And I'm going to go ahead and turn this guy loose. I'm going to hire up a worker on this, and we're going to cultivate this entire field here. So we'll pull up our menu. Get him going. And while he's doing that, I'm going to grab the 5488 and get to work spreading some lime here. But yeah, if you look at that texture, that and that animation, that looks absolutely fantastic. Yep, I absolutely love that. All right, well, I got the fertilizer cart out here and forgot I have no fertilizer, I have no seed, and I have no lime. So we got to make a run to town, get that stuff picked up, and that way I can actually, get the fields prepped and readied here. So I'm going to go ahead, jump in the old Chev here. Still got the flatbed hooked up. So we'll go ahead, get this thing loaded, and I'll be back in a jiff. All right. Well, I went ahead and got some seed, fertilizer, and lime. I've got 4,000 liters of lime in this spreader. So we're going to go ahead, get this field spread out, and hopefully 4,000 liters will be enough. It should be, I would think, more than enough here, but you know, sometimes you just never really know. So we'll go ahead and get the lime spread, then we'll switch over to fertilizer, get the fertilizer laid down, and then we can go ahead and get our seeder pulled out and get this field seeded. Alright, well, 4,000 liters of lime did not go very far. So, I'm going to grab the other 4,000 liters that we have, and I'm also going to have to run back to town and pick up some more. So, that sucks. Alright, well, I went ahead and got another 16,000 liters, and hopefully this will be enough, and we can get this field covered in lime. Now, I do believe if I run short, even though I have that big loan, I do believe I can still use the base game loan system and borrow some more money if I have to. But that's going to be really, really bad if I have to do something like that. So, I don't want to, but we're already down to 145,000. And it's, yeah, it's not good. So, we may end up having to borrow some more money. I'm not super thrilled about that by any means, but hey, that's farming, I guess. Alright, and with this pass, this field is officially done. So we had enough. We've got another 6,000 liters, so that is fantastic. Now I'm going to go ahead and get this lime unloaded off of the spreader, and we're going to load up with some fertilizer. Alright, well, I've got 8,000 liters of fertilizer here, so let's hope that this covers the field and we don't have to buy any more, because fertilizer is insanely expensive. Lime's not quite so expensive, but fertilizer is very, very expensive. And if we look across the field here, we can see our worker in the 7210 is getting right along and just about done cultivating that field for us. So that looks absolutely fantastic. Alright, and this field is now officially fully fertilized. So we'll go ahead and grab the seeder here, get it full of seed, and get the little bit of grass around the outside that we need planted. Alright, so we got the International 1086 hooked up to our International 5100 seeder. And I decided to go with the 1086 because it's a two-wheel drive and has a little better turning radius to it. So this is what we're going to go with. The 7210, while it is a good tractor, it tends to not turn very sharp. And with an implement this small, that's kind of a problem. So we're going to go ahead, roll this out with the 1086. It's got more than enough power to pull this little seeder, so we'll get this field seeded, and that should be about it for the month of August here. Alright, welcome into September, everyone. We've got quite a bit to do this month. We're going to start out here by mowing these waterways so we can get some grass bales. I plan on getting some sheep and goats. Also want to get some cattle and some chickens this month. So that's the plan. But we need to make sure I can get enough grass bales to get our sheep and goats fed through the winter here. So we're going to see how many bales I end up with, and that will determine how many sheep and goats I end up getting here. So I'm going to go ahead and get this waterway mowed here. Then I'll get the baler out and we'll get it baled up and see how many bales we end up with. All right, well, I went ahead, got all my waterways mowed, and I mowed over here on this side, and I tedded this. That way it can turn into hay, because I'm not confident I had enough hay bales. So we're going to go ahead, get all of this grass and hay raked up. That way we can get it ready for baling. So this should give us another, I honestly don't know, 4 or 5 bales of hay. That should be enough to at least get us through the winter here. And I'll take that. I'll be happy. And I don't know how many grass bales we're going to get. I definitely feel like it's going to be a lot. I feel like we're going to have a lot of grass bales. Alright, and that is it for the raking. So we'll go ahead, get this rake put away, get the baler hooked up, and get all of this grass and hay baled up. Alright, well, got the bale counter reset. We're full of round bale nets. We'll go ahead and get it fired up, drop down. We're going to start by baling up the hay first, and then we can move on to baling the grass. Alright, we got all of the hay baled up. We ended up with 6 bales. And after we get the first bale from the grass, it's still going to count as hay. So we'll end up with another 7 bales of hay total. I'll definitely take that. So we'll go ahead and get all this grass baled up quick. And see how many we end up with here. And that is it for baling. We ended up with 29 grass bales. I'm going to unload this short one for 30. And that'll definitely be enough grass to get us through the winter. That is for sure. So we'll get this put away. We'll get these bales picked up. And then it's time to start buying some animals. Now we're down to $122,000. So we're not going to buy a whole lot of animals. Because our funds just aren't going to allow us. And I really don't want to take out any more loan. Because we got to get through the winters on not much money. The wheat that we're going to sell is not going to be that profitable. All right, well, we got all of our bales picked up and loaded into our bale storage, so we're headed to town. I've got the horse trailer on, and we're going to go ahead and see if we can get us some horses here. I think I'm going to go ahead and get 4 horses, which means we're going to need to make 2 trips into town. This horse trailer only holds 2 horses at a time. Kind of a pain in the butt, but for now it'll be just fine. So we'll get these horses picked up and delivered back to the home place here. Alright, we got 2 horses bought. That cost $1,000. So we'll get these guys run back to the home place, get them put into the corral, and then we can come back and pick up 2 more. Alright, well, we went ahead and picked up 4 horses. We've got 2 pintos and 2 dune horses, and they all look fabulous. So we still need to get hay hauled over here. I filled their barn with the oats that we harvested already, so they've got the oats. Now we just need to give them a little bit of hay, and they should be good to go. So we're going to go ahead and pick up some more animals before we start delivering feed to all of our barns here. So I'm going to go ahead, get rid of this trailer, and we're going to jump in the Mack with the bull rack. And we're going to go ahead and pick up some sheep and some goats next. Alright, well, we picked up 20 sheep and 20 goats. So we got some all-white sheep and some white black-face sheep, and then just whatever goats the game gives you. So that's what we're rolling with here. That's definitely going to be a great start for our animals here. And we should have more than enough grass to get them fed throughout the winter. And that's really all we need, is to get them through the winter, because next summer we're going to be able to mow grass a few times, and that shouldn't be a big deal. So we'll get these guys run back to the farm here, get them unloaded. And then we can worry about getting some cattle. All right, well, you can see we've got baby goat walking into the barn right here. And all the others are out here in the pasture. They're definitely not easy to spot when they're this little, but they are out here, I promise. So there's a little sheep. So these guys will also need to be fed. We're going to worry about that after I get the cattle picked up here. So we'll go ahead and get those doors shut so none of them get out. And we're going to run back to the animal dealer and pick up our cattle. All right, looks like we got got a couple of our cows out here in the barn. And the rest are all chilling out here in the meadow, out here in the pasture. So that's fantastic. I got 20 of them. They're all 18 months old, all doing very, very well, and will give us some calves here in about 10 months. So that is perfect. So now we need to get our bull rack put away here, and then we can go ahead and start feeding all of our animals. Oh, I forgot. We cannot. We're not done buying animals yet. I still have to buy chickens. I completely forgot about our chickens. So we'll get this bull rack put away here, and then we'll run over to the chicken pasture and get our chickens purchased. All right, well, I went ahead and bought 100 chickens. So that should give us quite a few eggs here starting out to help offset some of our loan costs that we're going to have here. So I've already topped them off with feed. So they should be good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and hook up to the feed wagon, and we'll go ahead and get our horses, goats, cattle, and sheep fed here. Oops. Push one of my hay bales back into the barn here. But we'll go ahead, get this feed wagon loaded up with some hay. We'll start out by feeding our horses and just work our way on around here. Alright, since our horses already have the oats, all they need is hay. So we'll just go ahead, load this feed wagon up with only hay for now. We'll run it over to the horse barn, get them topped off, or at least, get them started anyway. I guess not necessarily topped off, but get them started, and then we can worry about doing our cattle next. So we'll jump out of the loader, get into the 1086 here. So we've got 19,500 liters of hay for our horses here. With us only having 4 horses, that should be enough for a couple of months, I would think. I've never really done horses, so I'm honestly not sure how much they're gonna actually go through. There we go. So we'll get this hay all dumped out here. And I don't honestly know how much hay this horse barn actually holds either. So we'll get this emptied out and we'll take a look. And, oh. Well, all right. Not that much hay. All right. Well, I'm definitely going to be doing some learning here. I've never done horses, so I'm not entirely sure how any of this works. Apparently, it's a mix of oats and hay. They're not fed separately, and that's interesting. So I'll go ahead and get this feed wagon topped off with a little bit more hay here, and then we'll get it finished filling it with our silage, and we can go ahead and feed our cattle. I thought I'd get the feed wagon empty there. I didn't, so we're not going to be able to switch over to the grass, so our goats and sheep will be the last animals we feed. Alright, so we'll jump out of the loader. Jump into the 1086. This is not going to be a good mix, unfortunately, but not a whole lot I can do about it. Alright, so that's only qualifying as forage. So we're going to have to, I'm going to dump some of this out, actually. There we go. Now we got total mix ration. It's not the best mix in the world, percentage-wise, but it should work. And of course I'm stuck somehow. There we go. Okay. My goodness. You'd think I'd never played this game before. This is ridiculous. Alright, we'll head over to the cattle barn, get this emptied out. This will be 24,000 liters of feed. Should be enough to get them through a month, but I definitely want to do one more mixer wagon for sure. That way I can at least get that forage that's on the ground picked up. The dump trigger for the TMR is apparently even outside of the building. That's fantastic. And yet again, I don't know how much feed this actually holds. Doesn't look like it's going to be a whole lot. Alright, that put us about a third. So it's looking like 3 of these feed wagons will fill this barn full of TMR. So we'll go ahead and get looped around here. We're going to go ahead and load up with grass. Get our goats and sheep fed. That way those bales are out of my way, and then we can finish topping off the cattle with their TMR, and then we need to get straw hauled to our horses and to our cattle. All right, take two. So, I guess I didn't realize you couldn't put grass bales and chop them up in the feed wagon. So, this could be interesting. I'm really hoping this sheep barn takes bales. Otherwise, I did a whole lot of grass baling for absolutely no reason. Alright, it does take bales. Perfect. Alright, we'll run those other two over here, and then we can finish doing our TMR for the cattle. Boy, this isn't good. I should definitely do a little bit more research and testing before I record. This is terrible. So, alright, I'll get these grass bales taken care of and then worry about the cattle here. Alright, looks like our sheep barn is probably going to take somewhere around, probably around 100,000 liters of grass is what it's going to hold, so that's a lot. We'll see how far this 22,000 liters gets them. And we're going to switch buckets here in just a second. Alright, we'll get this forage mix cleaned up off the ground, determine how much more hay we need, and go from there. Alright, we got all of the forage picked up. I got one more bale thrown in here for hay. We'll let this mix up. And I want to keep this as close to TMR as possible. But since I was a little short on silage last time, it's not going to hurt to have a little extra silage in this load. So we'll get this run down to the cattle, and then we will start loading up straw bales and getting the horses and the cattle bedded down here. It's looking like 3 of these mixer wagons will top this barn off. So they definitely have enough to get them through this month. That's going to be good enough for me. And now we're going to go ahead and actually switch over to delivering straw to the horses and the cattle, and be done with this absolute disaster that has been trying to feed my animals here. Alright, and the horses hold 10,000 liters of straw. So we'll move over to the cattle. They should hold quite a bit more, and I definitely want the straw in both the horse pen and the cattle pen, because I need to have as much manure as possible for fertilizing fields in the spring, because fertilizer is exceedingly expensive and we are running out of money fast. We're down to $83,000. Now we do still have corn that needs to be combined, so we will get a small income off of that corn, but it's not going to be a huge income by any means. So that part does kind of suck. But we'll go ahead and get this cow barn topped off with some more straw here. And that'll probably be it for the month of September and this episode. So, if you guys like what you're seeing, please make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And I'll see you guys in the next one.